Good morning, everybody. My name is Heather Aston, and this is my channel, Tiki's Trinkets and Treasures. A little bit of a time swap. Um, Randy is on her holiday shutdown, which she does from December 15th until approximately January 5th. Normally, Rosanna would be in Randy's time slot, but she's not feeling well. So I jumped up, got ready as quick as I could, tried to prep a little bit in the time I had to get ready and think about the project. Luckily, I already had this kind of thought out in advance, so we're good as far as that goes. But yeah, so we're going to do our best. We're going to try to get through this. I'm not sure how long I'll be on. I had recommended or asked Dorothy if she would be okay going on like half an hour late, because I mean, I could come back after she's done to finish the project, which if need be, that's what I'll do. But I just thought it would be nice to just get it all done. Hi, Sid. So as the title says, this is morning coffee and beads and things and stuff. I just woke up. So luckily I'm like the fastest face in the West. So I did get this all set up as quickly as possible. But yeah, good morning, Gloria. I'm so happy to see all of you guys here. As long as you guys are here, I know that I will be good. This is my first cup of coffee. Yes, it's that big. But yeah. I call it OJ in bed. Yeah. Normally, to be completely honest with you, my alarm goes off at 6:50 a.m. I wake up, I take my meds, and I go back to sleep till my alarm goes off 5 till 8. Then I go watch Randy. And then once like the tail end of Randy's to the beginning of Dorothy's, I'm getting ready as fast as possible. Everything else. Hello, Cynthia. Dorothy, are you good if I am on for 90 minutes this morning? And you could start at the half-hour mark rather than the hour mark. If so, I would greatly appreciate it. Good morning, Cynthia and Dawn. If she has time restrictions and we don't get as far in the project as I would like, then I will try to come back a little bit later. We'll just do a part 2. Okay, so I figured that we would focus on a guy's design today because there are men in our life that wear jewelry. My loving husband wears his bracelets stacked like a junior high girl in the most respectful way. I'm saying that the most respectful way possible. He likes to show off the stuff that I'd make and likes his bracelets, and he even has a couple of necklaces now, so he's a sweetie. I am coincidentally working with beads that all came from Randy, so that works out to be a nice little coincidence going on. But first let me start this. If you guys saw me last week, I did a chain cage design, the first one I've ever done. And so, yeah, it took a little bit longer because I had to figure out where the chain went so it didn't get twisted, so on and so forth. So I figured that today we're going to do a link version of that. It's very similar. And I'm just going to do short little lengths. Here, I'll go down to the mat so you guys can see. So I figured that we would do some 18 gauge little links, and I'm using this flat nose plier as my guide for how much space is in between the two loops. But I'm going to do this in silver, and then I'm going to wrap it with hematite wire in the center. And then I thought that would be kind of cool since I'm using like gray and black. I believe this is snowflake jasper. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, which has always confused me. So, yeah. So I have these in Rosanna's favorite bead type. Just kidding. It's matte. And then when I saw her open up these matte faceted, it's either obsidian, black agate, or some kind of jasper. I can't remember. I'm sorry, Randy. I ordered 2 the day of the sale, and then they came in the mail, and I ordered the remaining 3 she had on the website because I love them. I think they're so cool. And then I also ordered these like little nuggets. They are not drilled. That's why we're going to do a cage design. I'm not good at wire wrapping loose stones like this. It's something that I want to work on in 2026, but for the time being, we're going to do a cage design. I love this one. I forgot about this one. I wish I could wire wrap, guys, because this would look so cool with like a little swirly swirl on it. That would be so pretty. So I might just not use this one and take a gander at wire wrapping it privately. Yes, privately is the right word. But I love the snowflake obsidian. Okay, thank you. It is snowflake obsidian. Because like one side it's like completely black. This side's kind of like half and half, and then the front is almost completely. So I really like it, but yeah. So we will probably use that, but I also did buy the same time. She did have, or maybe I got these from Bernie's. I don't know. I have all of these chip beads as well, and these are not matte. So if when we go to the stringing, I thought that this could be kind of a cool juxtaposition considering this and this are both matte. So if I feel like these stones are way too big up against these ones when we get to the stringing portion of it, then I will probably just go with this and ship because I think that would look so cool. Okay, so for the links, I pulled off a section of wire. I think I pulled off like 3 inches. I already did my, well, here, let me just start. That's way too long, but it's okay. I'm just going to show you my hybrid link that I do for those of you who have not seen it before. All I do is I bend it at a 90-degree angle as if I'm doing a wrapped loop. Because I sort of kind of am. So, and then I go in at an angle with my step bail making plier and put it right in the bend of the wire. I feel this gives me the best centered loop without having to go back and fuss with it after I'm done. So I just go up, over, and down. I rotate my pliers so that they are now parallel with the mat, and I pull this back. And you will see when I take that off that I have a perfectly wrapped centered loop on top without having to mess with it. Then, and I genuinely do this with when it's on my pliers, but I wanted to show you that. So then I'm just going to grab my loop, switch my hand, and I am going to grab the tail and wrap it until it is back around to where the loop began. So I came up with this link because I'm not the biggest fan of simple loops. And I'm also not a fan of the space that wrapped loops take up. Not always. Sometimes I like the way it looks, just not in mold. And I don't like simple loops because they never feel as safe to me as a wrapped loop. So I came up with this, and you guys, I tested this live during a video once, and I had it connected to a triple wrap loop on the other side, and I took 2 pairs of pliers and pulled as hard as I could, and this loop did not budge. So in case some of you are like, well, how is that safe? I promise you this does not budge. Now, when you get down to like 24 or 26 gauge wire, yes, that's going to pull apart because it's very thin wire. So that's where I would step in and do more of a wrap loop. I'd go around at least one more time. Okay, then, like I said, I'm using this as my marker of where to bend next. And yes, I pulled off way too much wire on this one. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to do my wrapped loop all over again. Don't worry, I will use this waist as jump rings. I always do. Also, I like to cut my wire off on the side, thus eliminating a front or back to like a link like this. That way I don't have to pay as close of attention to, okay, well, if this is the front on one side and this is the back, then I have to be careful. With this, it doesn't really matter because both sides look like they're the front and back. So once we have our links, at this point of the morning, then, oh, it's still twisted. I was waiting for it to pop open like the biscuits when you have to pull that popped piece. Oh, it didn't go so dramatic today. Normally it goes all the way down. But we're going to go ahead and cut off the end here. And I could not find my double flush cutters. So I didn't have time to do so. I'm going to go ahead and cut. This is probably 2 inches, 2.5 inches. Because I'm going to need like some area to get the wire wrap started. Okay. And then once I get my first little wrap, I don't know why I feel so nervous today. Normally, I just do. So then once you get 2 wraps, then you can take your pliers and hold on there to do the rest of your wraps to fill up the space. This. I'm going to go ahead and cut the end of this off because it is impeding on my ability to hold this wrap. Mm-hmm. My fingers aren't awake quite yet, it appears. Okay, I don't know what happened here. I just messed that link up. It's okay. We'll come back to it. So, or this will be silly and I will just go to a stringing pattern and come back to this when I'm not as nervous as I am right now for some reason. Okay, so this is a perfect example. I didn't go fully in the link, and you'll see that it's not a centered loop. My wire slipped. Oh. So I'm just going to come and pull that up to the side. I'm going to cut off my end, and then I will go back and center my loop. All of my little tips and tricks are ways that I came up with that don't, it's kind of the lazy me, I guess. But, so then I just had to center that. Now, this loop had not stayed round throughout that process. I also have been known to go in with my round nose pliers and just stick it on and twist. After my wrap is done, I just kind of push it up as high as I can as I rotate my pliers, and then you'll get back your round shape of your link. Yeah, it is, but yeah, I don't want you to, please don't. Yes. Okay, I'll do that right now. Hold on. Oh, it's trying to do, we just want to go to YouTube. We don't want to go to YouTube Studio. Hold on, and I will go and find Dorothy real quick. Here is the link to Dorothy's channel. So I hope that helps, Sharon. There's the little link. Otherwise, it's DGI Designs 2022. If you have to like type out long form, that is what you would need to type. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to use these flat nose pliers in order to make my loop, or to know where to bend my, what, nope, this is the wrong pair of pliers. I was like, that is way too short. There we go. And I might try wrapping the other one before doing the second loop and see if that doesn't make it a touch easier on me when it comes to the wrapping. But those of you who know me know that this is all going to get turned into jump rings after I'm done here. Especially this wire is silver plated, so obviously I don't want to mess that up. Heather White, I was sitting here trying to straighten out the middle, which is not necessary because it's going to be covered up. So even if there's that little blemish there, we're still okay. All right. I'm not sure. I really think it would be easier on me because I do have dexterity issues. Let me go ahead and cut off this other end. Go in. And I find the easiest way to scooch wire up to the loop, if it gets away from me, to just stick my pliers in the loop I'm trying to get to. And that makes it easier. See, I think it might be easier to wrap the loop first, or to come back to this at another date and time, because that's hard. Yeah, this is also silver plated hematite wire. I believe this is, yeah, it is Beading. And a lot of their wire, like this wire doesn't feel stiff. So I don't understand. Let me see if it's easier for me. I could also maybe do that. Nope, that won't work either. Okay, I'm going to play with this offline because I really want to do this. But for now, we're just going to go to a stringing project so you guys don't see me fumbling around with this for an hour to get like 2 links out of it. But be assured that I will come back. And once I have figured out how to do it the best, I will let all of you know. Okay, let's see here. Where is my... I also had cut this out because somebody told me yesterday that my black mat is hard for them to see the beads. This is my stringing wire. I just used it yesterday. Here it is. As I said, I barely had time to take 2 sips of my coffee before coming live tonight. Oh, I am having a live sale tonight at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So Pacific would be 5, Central would be 6, no, would be 7, and Eastern Standard Time would be 8 o'clock. I had a live sale on Saturday and we didn't get to the pendant portion of it, so I definitely want to come back. Now I'm not going to make this like the beaded all the way. I'm just going to do the center point and then I will, what am I saying? And then I'll do chain up the sides. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Okay. Full reset because we don't need any of these. At least not for the time being, and this will make it easier on my camera to know where it's supposed to be focused at, and then I can come back when I'm done with this and find where I need to be. So to allow me to have a space in the center where I can attach the pendant after the fact. If any of you guys have like, if you have any like tips on how to do that, I'd love to see them, but I will likely come back to them after the fact. As I was saying, I had a sale on last Saturday or Sunday, and we didn't get to the pendants, so we'll be doing those tonight in the time slots, and then we'll just be doing that tonight, and then I will be invoicing and sending out orders after that. So if you were just wanting the beads, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that nobody was having to pay postage twice or anything like that. I think I might want some of the 6mm in the center, and then that could be where I attach where I can attach my pendant once I figure it out. Okay, so I'm gonna start with one of these, and then I'm going to put a little I want to put some little spacer beads in between here for where we're going to attach it. So this is a die, so it doesn't need to be dainty, but I also don't think it needs to be huge. So I'm going to go with the 3mm sterling silver spacers for the center. There we go. And then I will do 2 of the matte 6mm on either side. Oh, good morning, Randy. And then this will just make it easier. I'm wondering if I should I'm actually going to do a little veil right here so that my future self doesn't have as much to log in on or to come back. And I just put all my tools away. I'm going to do this one with my second step, not my first. And then I'm just going to use my veil making pliers as a way to keep this straight. And it didn't work. I didn't give myself much wire. Okay, let's start that over again. Ooh, like I said, that was my first coffee, and I've had like 3 sips. Randy, did you get your package? Wait, what? What registry? I saw the ultrasound. I think you're having a girl. So I keep referring to it as your child as to a she because I don't know why. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I'm really happy to hear that. You guys deserve it. Okay, now I gave myself more wire with which to do this. I'm going to pull it around, and then I'm just going to do the one little loop till it comes back to where the loop started on the opposite side. I like to cut on the side of my wire. So that there's not really a front or a back. And then I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to face it away. And I'm just going to do another little loopy loop. And this one will be the one that's on the bracelet, or the necklace itself. Trim that wire as well, but it's right up on top. I normally do this as keeping one of them as a simple loop, but since we're going to have such a large pendant once I do the cage wrap on these, I want a wrapped loop for both sides. And then we'll just string this on. And this will tell us if I need to go up in size for the spacer bead. Because if it just floats, nope, perfect. The two in the center will hold it up off of the wire so as to protect the wire. Then we'll do the other 6mm spiderweb obsidian. Yes, that will be good. Recognize any of the beads? Aw, thank you. As I told you, I found stuff after I shipped that off, so you'll have a second little coming. But yes, spread out your holiday cheer. Okay, now we just need to decide, because I'm gonna have the hematite down on this. Do you recognize all these beads? They all came from you, Randy. And as you know, I was like, I'm obsessed with these faceted beads for men's designs. They're perfect. Let's see. So I have several like different spacers, but with guys' designs, I try to keep it very simple. Those tend to be the most popular ones for me. And I kind of like the shiny up in between the matte beads. And this could full on be a design for a more feminine design as well, by simply changing out a bead or two, maybe changing the spacer to blah, 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 more feminine, like have the words are hard this morning, sorry. To use a more feminine spacer, or maybe change this out for a faceted polished stone instead of doing both of the matte. I'm trying to figure out which one I like better, because I also have these disc spacers, and I am going to throw in some silver spacer balls as well. I just don't have my pattern completely thought out. So let me see here. Do I like this better? I think it might be too overwhelming for the 6mm. Or maybe not. I kind of like that. Which do you guys like better? Do you like the flat spacers or the ones I had on before? I think I might do a spacer ball between the two of these and then use these between two of the matte beads, the black matte. Have a good day, Dawn. Aw, that's so sweet of you. You like the flat spacer? Okay. I think I am gonna go ahead and put another 3mm spacer, or actually I might go to a 5mm spacer. But if so, I'm going to cut off another section of beading wire. The 5 is too big. Let's go to the 4. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so we will do 4mm on either side, but I am going to go ahead and pull off another section of wire just to make sure. This is not my typical brand of wire, but it also didn't feel right to give people like my recommendations when they asked if I hadn't tried the other wires. So I bought it for that purpose. So let me go through this real quick. And I will just do 2 strands rather than so far. My favorite is the beetle on wire is the 49 strand, and they have it to where it's coated much like its competitors. But yeah, that's my favorite of the beetle on. I've tried the 7, I've tried the 9. This is 19, and I feel like, yeah. Wait, what? Close those spacers up as you're not using. Yes, that's what I'm doing, because, and for that exact reason. But yeah, these are sterling silver, like completely. So yeah, these are not ones that I want to end up in beads to. That's for sure. So I decided I'm not going to use this. Thank you, Rosanna. Good looking out for me. And you know what? I just remembered that I have something that, okay, these are like little 5-petal flower spacers, but they are stainless steel, so they look like a light hematite. I'm wondering if I put these in between on like either side of this, how it would look. So I'm going to try that real quick. I don't think that they are big enough to where it will be completely obvious that they are like petal beads. They just look like a light hematite to me. What do you think? They're so little that I don't think you have to get in there really close to be able to tell that that's a flower spacer. Oh yeah, I do it all the time. Aw, well, I'm glad you were able to get us. You were able to come find us, Mary. What do you guys think? Is it too obvious that it's a flower spacer, or is it just nice up against the matte bead? I'm not going to use them like on every single bead. I was just going to do like a section of 3 and then come back. Yeah, I know. The only ones I have right here aren't very good ones, but we need to go through. Oh, wait, I do have one good one. So the ones that most of you probably use are not, wait, what was I? Oh, the little spring ones that you have to like open up. Those are hard for me to use. So I use these. These are for sewing to keep like your hem straight. But I also use them as those. It's I don't think it's noticeable as a flower. So I think I'm just gonna roll with it. It's so tiny in between that I don't think anybody would even realize it was a flower. So I'm gonna go. But all except for the chips came from Randy. Oh, look, I cleaned up too well. Here, I'll just open this little package, make it easier on myself. Thank you, past self, for not cleaning up well enough that this was still sitting there. I'm going to see what 3 likes looks like. I personally would prefer to have, I think that's too much. So do we just go to 2? Yeah, I think I like that better. It's more simplistic. Come on, get on those strands, please. I know that the human eye prefers odd numbers, but either I need to do it without the spacers and leave the spacers for like between this. Oh, I'm so excited too. I'm excited for 2026 too. I hope that we're able to have collaborations within that. I think I would enjoy it myself, but oh my goodness, this might get X just because it's not going. They're so small that it's kind of hard to get them on both strands. There we go. So like that, and then more formatting. And then I can either just do one of the 6mm like that. That made it easier, but it was in the wrong direction. Okay, what do you think of the pattern, guys? Are the spacer balls too big? Up next to the 6mm? Should I go down to a 3mm? I like it. Okay. Like like I said, I don't think it's noticeable that these are floral, but if anybody would like me to send you the link, if you are a fellow lover of all things tiny, I can do so because I really like them a lot. Okay. I do try to employ the kiss method whenever possible. How do you not even to that point yet? I was going to put on a bead cap where it didn't need to go yet. I may change my mind about not keeping this longer. I kind of like it. And then I could just add leather just for the back of the neck on this. I think that would be pretty. Oh, 6mm. I like the sterling silver. In this application because it kind of brightens it up and doesn't make it look too heavy. And I think that's why it'll be okay to take it up higher than I had originally planned on doing. And then we can just keep leather on the back of the neck, which I'm going to be completely honest, I'm not sure where it is at this moment. So I may have to add leather without you all. Thank you, Elsie. I appreciate you guys. No, absolutely. Take care of her. You, um, that's the priority in this situation, as always. Okay, is it true that if like I've heard that if you have really bad chicken pox as a child, you're less likely to Like if you get shingles, you get a milder form of it. Because I did have an owie that seemed to appear out of nowhere, and I didn't know what it was, and now I'm wondering if that could have been what it is. So, yeah, of course. You would do the same if the roles were reversed between Rosanna and I. And I know that about you. Okay. Don't want to take this too far up. So I'm going to swap out which side I'm working on real quick and bead this up. Yes, that's what you did. I just realized that the center does not match the rest of the pattern, but I think I'm okay with it as is. Yeah, I'm okay with it as is. I don't think it needs to. This is the very beginning. Right? No, there is a spacer ball there. Okay, I'm wrong. There is a spacer there. I was looking at it incorrectly. Okay, mine did not do that. It just happened, and I didn't know why it happened. So I had horrible chicken pox as a child. That's why I'm asking. But yes, I don't know if you are, if she's if it's already been mentioned, but there is an over-the-counter option called Nausine that literally like dissolves in your mouth. And for over-the-counter, it is a very, very good option. I have used that in place. Zofran doesn't always work the best for me. I've not heard of the other one on here. Promethazine works for me, but they don't like to use that as often now. So it is what it is, but Nausine over the counter works very well. In case any of you should find yourself queasy on a weekend, I think that is a great option for when the doctors aren't there. And as Anita just said, like this group, oh, that one would have been okay too. This group has some amazing prayer warriors. So if you ever need something's going on and you need prayers, these ladies jump on it lickety split. I always take a moment to like say a prayer in my head quickly, in case I forget to do so later. But I think this will be one that Steve likes, and he'll be like, nope, gotta keep that. If you need more design ideas for the guys in your life, as well as just other options, last June I did a challenge where every day for the 4 weeks leading up to Father's Day, I put that on wrong. Don't you just love when something isn't going right you finally get it and then realize that was the wrong thing. There's nothing you can do but to laugh about it. Like, it happens. Anyways, there is a playlist on there called 28 Days Men's Challenge, but there is a lot of hello. What was I going to say? I really hate when that happens. I don't remember what I was saying. That is my jerkums. It hasn't gotten a mention, so it had to pop up. Oh, the men's challenge. Woo-hoo, it came back. There are leather knotting projects, there are stringing projects, there are a whole bunch. And if it's not something that is your guys' thing, you can slowly work them into it. Steve was kind of like, yeah, a bracelet is okay. And now he wears several on both wrists. So he just likes the compliments he gets, and he also does so to support me. Because when people ask, he can say, oh, my wife made these. And he keeps some of my business cards in his wallet. So, yeah. You had the those were not. Ouch, Rosanna. Yeah, I had like chicken pox on top of chicken pox. So I have a scar on my forehead. I have one on my knee. I have a couple other places. They were bad. And I mostly got teddy bears that Christmas, which is silly if you think about it, because the teddy bear can carry the virus after the fact. But yeah. But yep, there are lots of different men's gifts ideas in that playlist. And I also try to show like that it's not as like making men's jewelry is not as difficult as you think. You can make very simple changes like in a pattern. Like maybe we use polished spinel beads here, and smaller ones though, to kind of just tighten up, maybe switch this to a 4mm bead or a polished bead rather than the matte. It's not as difficult as a lot of people think to go from like designing mostly feminine designs to then go and jump on and try to figure out what to do. And I think that's all it is. There's like Father's Day, Christmas, and Valentine's Day are the three main times that we think about making gifts for the men in our lives. But yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. It just took Steve a little time to like come around to it. Same with my boys. My boys are the exact same. We're the exact same way. It took them a bit to be like, oh, yeah, I'll wear that, mom. But now I have the cutest picture of my son-in-law though. After last Christmas, he took a picture with like all of his, like the different bracelets that I made him. He's like this, and he's like, look, marketing, mama. He's cute. I have the best son-in-law in the world. He loves my daughter exactly as she is for who she is. And like they literally, I can be in the middle of like a video chat with the baby, and if something from Jason pops up, Jerk is like, oh, Jason's going to click. Like there's not even a thought. They just genuinely adore being together, and it's very cute. They met, he's 4 years older than her, so they met working at a summer camp there's like 10 weeks, 10 different themes, and it's for disabled children and adults from high functioning to total care, like having to be fed and bathed and changed. That's how they met. Jason's not sorority. What is it called when it's the guys? I can't think of what. You'll know what I mean. They worked with the program Civitan, and there's Civitans all over the country. I don't know if they all do summer camps or not, but that's how they met. When Jericho was still in high school and was just a volunteer, she was paired up with Jason as like the provider. And so they just got to know each other. And then when Jerica went to going to school at NAU, we got her like the largest meal plan that NAU offered. And yeah, my daughter doesn't eat enough to warrant that big of a one. So like she would text Jason and be like, hey, I still have some vouchers. Want to come eat? And he would be like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And I'll tell you that even today, meals together are like their way of showing love to others. So family dinners will be like a thing in their household, without a doubt. Because it's the way that it's like both of their love languages. And they share the cooking duties. Sometimes Jerica cooks, sometimes Jason cooks. And when they first moved to California, they actually stayed with Jason's parents, and Jason's mom does not speak English. Like, she understands more than she speaks, but yeah, so for that 3 months being there all the time, and also like using different apps and YouTube videos, she her Spanish has come so far. Like she does so amazingly. She has learned it because Jason is first generation Mexican American. I think that's the way to say it. If not, I apologize if anybody, but his parents came here when they were very, very young. So, okay, now do I have it matched up? No, you still need to do one more little thing. But yeah, she's learned so much Spanish. She's a very intentional person, though. Like, she wants Selena to have a good relationship with all of us, so she takes the time to make sure that that happens. Okay. I think this is going to be a good length. And since I want to do leather up, oh, too soon, Heather, up around the neck area, I will crimp off and everything, but I don't know where my black leather is right at the moment. So I will tie off, and hopefully you can imagine it. Once I find my leather, though, if you would like me to, I can do a short on the knot. Okay. I want a silver. Do I want a silver ball? Actually, I want a silver ball and one of the snowflake obsidians at the end. And I'm just gonna end like that because the crimp tube will mimic the other round. Or so I'm telling myself. So tie off this side. Make sure my pattern's matching up all the way down. It is. Grab some crimp tubes. I have hematite one. So there we go. Oh, goodness gracious. So I only need to create a loop because I'll come back later to do the leather portion of it. Okay, do you guys double loop the wire? Or do you just put one through and keep a single loop for the next part? I kind of want to do two so that there's added like protection, but I'm also kind of freaked out that I'm not going to be able to get my loops straight, like completely. What are you looking for? Like lined up. Maybe if I stick it on here, it'll make it easier. Okay. Dang it, I don't have my magical crimper right here. After all that, okay, if you've never used a magical crimper, it looks like this. It is for 0.018 or 0.019 diameter beading wire. and you just center your crimp in the middle of the little circle area, and you just do little squishes around. And I go until I don't feel any more resistance from it. Now, this beading wire is not thick enough for a size 2 crimp typically. I'm using 2 strands, and I'm doubling it back over. So because of that, I'll have enough wire to do so. But yes. Okay. So my loops are centered, meaning they're matched up. I'm going to do my first squish, and then I'm going to turn it, make sure that my crimp is centered in the concavity of the pliers. And like I said, I go until I don't feel any more resistance. And you end up with a little ball that looks like that. Speaking of the hematite, if your hubby wouldn't like the silver, you could swap this out for gunmetal findings. But I like it how it is. So, okay, I'm going to scoot the wires down and leave them within. One of them might be too long. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and cut one of these because one is longer than the other and is sticking out between the second and third bead. Come on. Okay, there we go. Now, you do not have to do this step. I'm just doing it on this because I am going to have the leather, so I just don't want any added metal friction. And then we're just going to do the other side if my wires will line up. If you don't want to do the double loop, you can always put the 2 strands on and then just go back and loop only one of the wires. That is also an option. Okay, and I want to tuck these in here. So I'm going to pull that down. Kind of wiggle it down. I don't want it like tight, obviously. Otherwise, the wire will kink. I'm going to do my loop the same way I did the last one, where I stuck it on my 6-step bail making pliers and just pulled the wire to where it's the same. And then I'm going to use my thumbnail to kind of move up the crimp so that I don't get a weird smash on it. And I'm just going to crimp. And you do not have to squish hard. In fact, I don't recommend that at all. If you are having a hard time doing the magical crimper at first, I will tell you this. I tried over and over again and could not get my crimps to look like little beads. Come on, stay there. Thank you. And then last year on Becky did a collaboration with Sam Speed Shop called The Merry Makers. And she showed up close that even if you get like a mangled ball that doesn't look right, you just kind of keep going And I was giving up too soon. So I would get to a certain point and then I would get so frustrated. So I would just, careful when you do this, because obviously you don't want to cut the other wires. Why won't this cut today? Funnily enough, I just spotted my magical crimpers right up in front of me. There we go. As I was saying, if you're finding that you're having a hard time, the crimp isn't working, whatever else, A, you may be giving up too soon. B, you may have a debunked pair of pliers. It's happened to a few people that we know. It happened with Becky's sister, Jenny. And Becky would just tell her, oh, just keep going, just keep going. And then it come to find out she just had a defective pliers. And so she ordered her a new pair, but didn't return the bad pliers because she didn't want somebody else to get them and get frustrated and think they weren't doing it correctly. Which I never thought of until she said that. But or you just need to practice some more. That is what I have found to help me the most. But yes, you're okay, Elsie. I rarely use 2 strands, so not a question for me. I might do a double crimp like on my sun catchers for heavier necklaces. Yes, that was a very good point, Rosanna. I'm doing it on leather, so I'm hoping that the leather will kind of hide that. I'm trying to think. All my leather used to be right here in this drawer, but then we started looking here. That's brown leather. Dang it. I was like, woohoo. This is gray leather. Haha, we might be able to finish this after all. I'd prefer smaller so that I could show you guys a couple of ways to make this adjustable, but beggars can't be choosers. Okay, this is 1.5 millimeter, but it does have a sheen to it that makes it a little bit harder to knot if you are not used to knotting. I still have a problem with it, so, and I use it all the time. So it's just a matter of playing with your supplies until you find what's right for you. Here we go. Some 1.5 millimeter leather. That was the start of another design, apparently. I don't know what I was doing. But we found black leather, yay, and it's not shiny, yay. If you have problems with your barrel knots, it might be because you're using the shiny leather. So just a thought. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop my leather through my loops. I'm going to pull it down and bend it over, giving myself 2 to 3 inches. I might give myself a little bit more. Yeah, 2 to 3 inches of leather in order to do this correctly. I am not going to be using this. I don't want to have to pull that. It's still a lot of leather to pull through. But okay, so you have 2 strands of leather. Oh, duh, Heather. You only need make the shorter strand long enough to knot on. I still like to give myself a little bit more space, but obviously I do not need 3 inches for that. You're going to want to put the strand of leather that you're wrapping with frill on top. And then I use a straight metal tube bead. I find the round ones to be more difficult to knot with. The bottom roundness of it kind of rocks it while you're trying to wrap it, if that makes sense. And so I like using a straight one. You're just going to stick your tube in the middle of the 2 strands. Then you're going to grab the top strand. You're going to pull it down under towards yourself and back around. Now, this next step is very important. The second wrap, you want to make sure that you're coming closer to your left hand, not to your right hand, or the knot will not work. Whew, this was later in the day, or you're on another time zone. I think if you could take a shot every single time that I say knot, whether it be KNOT or just NOT, you would be absolutely obliterated. So I also like 2 wrap designs, especially for guys. I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 wrap just so you can see. I like the way that it looks because sometimes that third wrap makes it look too polished. I don't know how to say it. I like mine to be very, very neat. So you're just going to slowly pull your longer strand until you have a knot size that you like. And when you do 2 wraps, you'll get 2 on the front. On the back, it crosses over like, it gives you like a crisscross on the back, which I actually like to use as the front of my leather design. I really like the way it looks. You don't want to pull your knot too crazy. Where did I put those? My hubby just got me new GS Hypo because your girl manages to mess up her GS Hypo like you wouldn't believe, which is crazy because for somebody who is allergic to adhesive, it's not really the best. To be completely frank, I should be putting these on my fingers when gluing to protect myself, but again, I forget to. And even though I just said this, I'm going to put them back. Okay. I think they might be in my Rosanna. They are indeed in my Rosanna or cup. Okay, so GS Hypo. I like to use GS Hypo in my knots because it dries like rubber cement. So as someone is wearing it and the leather is getting tugged on or pulled on, the glue is not going to crack and remove color off of your leather. So that's my 2 cents. If you're putting it inside of a cord end, then you want to use Loctite because obviously that's not going to really say it or whatever. So, Dorothy, I'm going to finish this up really quick. I'm sorry. You're already going on late for me, and here I am chattering away. So, I like to actually physically get my nozzle inside of the knot on both sides rather than having glue on my visible on my knot. I think it looks better. It's an aesthetic thing for me. You don't have to do that. I just like knowing that I have added security within my knot and I don't have glue showing, especially if this is right up front. Okay, let's measure this so I know where to put my other knot. Can't tell you how happy I am that we're gonna get this finished. Okay, the beaded area of this necklace is just under 16 inches. So I only need I'm gonna go ahead and make this an adjustable knot. Actually, I don't know if I can do that. I may have to use cord ends on this, which again, I don't have right here because I didn't have my design thought out. Let me see. I'm actually not going to finish this because I want to find I have metal beads that have a silicone ring inside, and I like to put it to where one side of the leather is going this way, the other side of the leather is coming in it this way, and then you can knot at the end of those pieces, and it makes it adjustable, but in a way that you're not having to adjust it over and over again. So I prefer to do that, especially for men's designs. So, oh, honey, you're okay. Yeah, I'll look for my silicone beads, and if I don't come back on, I will at least put up a short on how to finish this off. Because I didn't get to the cage portion of it either. So I don't know. If I get it fixed and figured out, I might come back on a little bit later. We'll see. Anyways, I hope that you guys are all going to jump over to Dorothy's channel in case you missed the link earlier. That's the link to her channel. She will be starting right after this starts. So I will sit here and play around with the cage part of this design and possibly come back later. So thank you guys for all for being here. I greatly appreciate your support. And I hope that you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. And if I don't see ya the holiday season, night everybody. Happy beading.